What's up, guys? Welcome back. We are diving into another. This is the Dalmatian, the little Dalmatian. Dollar drafts, can't beat them. Uh, yeah, we are starting this draft from the 7, so we aren't going to have our pick. I'm going to look to probably target Amon-Ra or CeeDee Lamb over Taylor or McCaffrey, but I don't have a lot of McCaffrey or Taylor this year because I tend to value Amon-Ra above them. And so I kind of, when I'm in this ADP range, kind of lean into him. We've started a lot with Amon Ra, so potentially we do grab one of these running backs. I'm higher on Cook than both these guys this year, and it's hard for me to justify taking Cook at the 7 because I basically what I've been doing is allowing my draft position to distribute my capital amongst my draft capital amongst these guys. In my portfolio. That being said, maybe this is the one where we take a Taylor or a McCaffrey. I'm open to either. We'll see who we start with. Okay, Amon-Ra goes at the 5 spot above Jackson Smith and Jigba. I do have a fair amount of him. Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think he's a great asset here in the first round. It's just that you're pretty much forced into taking running back in the second round. So I think here we will go with McCaffrey. I don't have a ton of him. We'll take him. He helped me get a championship in one of my redraft leagues last year. I had him pair with James Cook. Nuts. Jamar Chase on the same team. It's wild. But yeah, we'll see how we go in the second round. We'll grab, one of these guys. We could pull up a Drake London. I don't know how common McCaffrey London is, but we could look to do that if we wanted to. But it'd be hard for me to take a London over a Brown or an Achan or a Walker to that degree. Derrick Henry London, I think, is a fair assessment, but knowing that we'd probably get one of the ETN, Kyron Williams, Javonte Williams folks here, but I can't pass Achan. I think that's too good of a value here. So if Achan had gone there instead of AJ Brown, I think I would have taken London and then looked to stack that one of the two Williams or ETN. But I'm okay with this because in the second round here or in the third round here, we should still see a really good receiving asset. I don't know if Olave doesn't really make it that far down. I see him going a lot higher, but we'll have Higgins or maybe Neighbors Falls or if we wanted to pull McConkey up, we could. Or I don't think Devontae Smith will fall, but potentially Olave does. Not taking McBride from that spot. I think after you start double running back, you really can't afford to go elite tight end in these drafts. Your wide receiver room just ends up looking not so good. If you do that, you at least want one of the top 20 receivers, 15 receivers. And if you take a Trey McBride here, let's say, then you're looking at starting with a much weaker wide receiver here. But the other problem is that at 42, there's a ton of running back names that I like over the receiver names in this middle to back half of the fourth round. So that's something I am slowly learning my way through because that tends to happen with me when I take double running back in the first 2 rounds is that I love the running back value here at 4 and sometimes at 5 as well. So if we're wrapping up with Price or Tootin down here, or we're grabbing, or even Judkins sometimes, although he typically goes back up here, or even, Statibo, you guys know I love him. Sometimes he drops down there at we got Statibo down here a lot. So, okay, the one player does take Bowers and pairs him up with Smith. Robinson player gets Pickens and Olave. I was talking about this in another draft. That's one of the issues with the 2 spot is that you commonly wind up with Pickens at pick 23, and I love him as a wide receiver 2. I just don't love him as a wide receiver 1. But if you get Olave, it's like you have 2 top tier wide receiver 2s right there. I know they're both Olave's wide receiver 1 on his team, but I just mean overall in terms of tier. They're like 2 A tier wide receivers, right? Like your S tier pretty much stops at CeeDee Lamb. Those are your S tier receivers. These are probably actually your S tier receivers, but if you're for a broader discussion, your S tier receivers are all gone in the first round. These are all A tier receivers, kind of down through Higgins and Neighbors. Interesting to see Rice is still on the board here, so I will take Rashi Rice if he falls. I guess we could also shoot our shot on Neighbors here. Again, I don't want to take one of the running backs, even though I like them both, or McBride because we started off double running back, and I'm likely to grab a running back here in the fourth, fifth round. So McBride goes, so we'll take Rashi Rice. I think we're getting a crazy value on Rashi Rice in the middle of the third round. And then on the way back here, we will be looking at like Statabu, um, Buka if he falls. Neighbors shouldn't fall, but he might. Be looking at one of those guys. Um, I like Statabu better than I like Burden. I liked Buka better than I liked this range of players. If you've watched any of their drafts, you know that I basically do not draft Jets players. And it's not because I'm a Bills fan and a Jets hater. It's because the Jets are just terrible, and I don't want fantasy assets on terrible teams. They got to overcome variance of their position and variance of their team play, and I don't love it. Now, it's not to say that all bad teams don't have um, offensive pieces. Statabo gets sniped from us there. So Josh Jacobs is still on the board, but we do have some really good wide receiving assets here. Um, I think we want to grab one of them. I'm going to grab McLaurin. I don't have much of him this year, and I think he could return to old form. So, yeah, then McLaurin's the right pick there for sure. But as I was saying with the Jets, they're not one of the offenses that I want. Like maybe the Tennessee Titans are very bad, but their offense is gonna put up points, I think, right? Or has explosiveness too. I don't know at all. Wow, Ivory Coast just tied it up with Norway 1-1 in the 73rd minute. Love the World Cup. World Cup's my favorite sporting event. I might like the World Cup more than the Super Bowl. I know it's maybe blasphemy to some of you, but love the World Cup. It's just once every 4 years. It's awesome. Love the game. Um, but that being said, yeah, I don't want the Jets. I just don't want any of the Jets players. I don't want Hall. I don't value him highly. I think I have no Hall in any of my teams so far. Maybe I have him on one team. I pass right over Garrett Wilson. I'll never have a Garrett Wilson team because I just pass right over him. Every time his ADP is around, I just like every single name on both sides of him. Right, every name leading up to him. I have McLaurin, Burden, Evans, Waddle, Williams all over Garrett Wilson. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that front, but all right, we'd love Judkins to fall to us here. There is a shot that he will. We'll also have a shot at Tootin, which is fine. I like the Dunze a lot down here as well. I like the Dunze a lot, but the fall off after Tootin is pretty significant. So we'll grab him. And then again, on the turnaround, we'll still be looking at Tate, Thomas, Tyson, Harrison, Parker Washington. We could also look to grab Jaden Daniels. He's got an ADP of 66. Will be right on target to pair him with McLaurin. I kind of actually like that. So that's what we'll look to do if we have if Jaden Daniels does make it back here, which he's the next QB off the board. Oh no, Burrow's ahead of him. Okay. And the Hiddens player's back here, presumably. The Hiddens player. Oh no, on this board the Hiddens player went early, so Hiddens player is here. Dunze, yep. Tyson. So the double RB stackers here. Well, that means that we just have to make it past the Jefferson player. Great. All right, so we'll take Jaden Daniels here. I think that's awesome. I will look to prioritize another QB in the next couple of rounds. That way I can be done at QB and stack more wide receivers at the end and running backs. I think if you get one of the premium quarterback assets, it does behoove you to take another one of the premium assets. And when I say premium, I'm talking about down to like Purdy and even to a lesser extent Dart, depending on what you believe. After that, the Matthew Stafford's, Bo Nix, Jared Goff's of the world, you're probably going back to wanting three. But if you get any of the two, especially if you get like a um, uh, Dart with rushing upside as your only other one, you're probably okay, especially after you go, okay, we have a little run on QB, but especially after you go one of these first five or six for sure. And like I said, to a lesser extent, you get down there with Mahomes, and you're still considering taking a two QB build with Mahomes, as long as one of your other QB assets is ranked ahead of him. So running quarterback here, which tends to be the case in the sixth round. The value is just so good between Daniels, Burrow, if he falls, Williams, Drake May. There's just such good QB value here that it makes sense to do this. Now we won't be looking to take Mahomes at 79. If you go to ADP, Mahomes is going right around the 90 slot. So we will have to make a decision here. If he falls to us, we'll absolutely take him to pair him with Rice. But we'll have to make a decision based on this. I'm going to say if he is here, we'd be making the decision against one of the positional players who will be of value. So we're going to pass on him here though, and take hopefully a wide receiver. Love Quentin Johnson in this run in this area. I don't mind Tony Pollard either, but given that we just picked up Tootin, I want to pick up a wide receiver here. I think Johnson. I'm higher on Johnson. Herbert won't wheel, but we were towards the other end of the board and he fell. Sometimes you didn't pick that up. And then we'll look to pick up Mahomes on the way back through. And if Mahomes makes it here, then we'll be done with two quarterbacks again. We'll have Daniels with McLaurin and Mahomes with Rice. And I think that gives us a pretty good quarterback wide receiver sort of room, considering we also have McCaffrey, Achane, and Tuden. And I don't think we're in Purdy range. Purdy tends to go right a little bit later, but we could also pair up Purdy if Mahomes was to go here. McCaffrey. That's almost more enticing, given that Mahomes might be injured. Um, does Patrick Mahomes go there? He does. You know what? I'm going to snap off Brock Purdy. We're going to reach on him. I'm going to do this because, though, I think I like the upside with McCaffrey, and even though we're reaching on him, we can get Parasol on the way back around potentially. We're right at 103, and he's 100, so we'll have a stack there, and I think that's going to be a pretty sneaky little stack. So the Herbert player, I snaked him on Johnson. He takes Herbert right after that, and then takes Mahomes. Okay, only has Stadabu through the first 8 rounds as a running back. That's tough. That's tough. I think our team is super balanced so far. So team construction through 8 rounds. We've got Jaden Daniels and Brock Purdy at quarterback. We're done with quarterback. McCaffrey, Achane, Tootin, and backfield. It's great, very solid. Rice, McLaurin, Quentin Johnson at wide receiver. Very, very solid. So I like our construction. I like the fact that we're done with quarterback. Um, yeah, looking good. Where does Tittle go? Not sure what Kittle's ADP. I know it's moved around a little bit now that there's news that he'll be playing. So he's at 113, and we're at 114. So Parasol goes way ahead of schedule up here, but we might be able to get Kittle down here. I'm not going to pull him up. I like J.K. Dobbins a lot this year. I think if he gets to us, we'll take him. If not, we took Pittman in the last draft. There's also Golden, um, Jonathan Brooks. I'd like Dobbins the most out of all these guys, so we'll see if he falls down. Hoping he does. Yeah. Got the camera at an angle a little different here because of the glare coming off this afternoon sun. All right, Stafford. Got it. Laporta. Dart. Okay. We're gonna grab J.K. Dobbins. Happy to add him to the backfield. Think he has a chance to just be the starter and score some good points and have some good weeks there. So paired up with McCaffrey, Achane, and Tootin, I like that a lot. And now we're just going to have to really go buck wild on wide receiver. So at the 114, even if Kittle's there, what's our wide receiver options? Golden probably won't fall. Dobbs, Concepcion. Man, I think I am going to take Kittle. And I think I'm going to take Kittle because I think if we do that, we can go uh, to tight end and then just hammer wide receiver. Probably go with 5 running backs, I think. And we'll go with 8 wide receivers. Mayfield and Golden go to be expected. Interesting that the Warren player took Kraft, but then did not prioritize um, Jordan Love. Gets Goff instead. Okay, we're back on the clock. We're going to take George Kittle. We're right on ADP here, and I think that if we're going to bet he's going to be great, like he's always been, and if he is, then we only need 2 tight ends, and we'll take another tight end and be done with it. But now we really do have to hammer wide receiver. So for real, we only have 3. So 127, 138. If we look at ADP there, Coker, Diggs, Shaheed, Travis Hunter, Omar Cooper, the one Jet I might actually put in my lineup. Interesting running back value down here that we could potentially say we'll take one of them and that'll be the end. But I think with the lineup for running back that we have, we just want to target Black in one of the last rounds back up to McCaffrey and just, you know, have him stashed back there and call it a day. Kaleon, I believe is his first name. 82nd minute, and Norway and Ivory Coast are still tied at 1. Kind of a quiet game for Holland, uncharacteristically. Okay, so the Gibbs player only has Montgomery through 11. That's a lot of receivers. That's a lot of receivers. These types of tournaments, I feel like everything has to go right for you. And if you're, I mean, that's one, two, three, four, five, six receivers through 11. I guess it's maybe not the bad way to do it, but like my wide receivers to be, I think we're just take tight ends here. My wide receivers to win this tournament, my wide receivers have to be as good as they can possibly be, and they have to stay healthy. And so I think like if that doesn't happen, then all bets are off anyway. So if that's going to happen, then these three guys are hitting my lineup pretty much every week. I think that's where we messed this draft up. Is we decided to get Kittle. I think Kittle threw off our wide receiving room, um, given the lack of quality we're going to have. But again, that's why these $1 drafts you can try stuff because like now we're looking at adding these folks in here, and they're going to be our wide receiver 5. And you typically want these to be your 6 or 7 wide receivers. So there is something there. There is something there, I suppose. But you know, if Kittle is Kittle of old, and I have Purdy and McCaffrey, I kind of like the stat there. Kind of like the stat there. I don't think I have any Stephon Diggs, which I find to be kind of interesting because he's presumably going to play somewhere, but I just never seem to prioritize him. I guess we'll take McMillan. That's fine. And then on the way back around, we'll look to grab Juwan Jennings or Jaden Naylor. I guess Trey Tucker's okay as well. I don't know that any of these tight ends warrant kind of moving up to get them. And we're obviously not going to have priority on Daniel's tight end at all. It's not a thing. Yeah, I mean Chid. I guess we could do that. I guess we should throw him in there. I don't know what he's going to look like in that offense. I really don't know that he's going to be a piece there. But if we, I guess maybe we'll have a double stack then, and then just basically ride wide receiver out, and then take Black in the last round. Just maybe that's it. Let's see. We're at 151. What's Shid's? He's 145, so he would have to fall, and he does not. So now that doesn't happen, I don't care. Doesn't make any difference. We're probably only going to go 2 tight ends anyway here. We're going to bet that Kittle is going to stay healthy. Looks like Holland just got one, and that will take the lead here in the 85th minute. Wow. Wow, good for him. Just saying Holland's had a relatively quiet game, but this guy just finds the net every freaking match. Good for him. All right, Jennings, he was the receiver I was probably most excited about. Naylor or Tucker are both fine. Both of these guys are fine. They are the same. I guess we'll take Tucker. They're the same to me. It doesn't really matter. Okay, then on the way back, um, we'll grab maybe our last running back. We're only going to do 5 running backs. I think with this room, the way it's stacked, we can do 5. Or no, we're talking about grabbing Black in the last round. So then we need another tight end. And maybe we should do three tight ends. We'll see. Because we're only doing two quarterbacks. We're sitting on six receivers. Yeah, we probably actually do want to go up to eight, actually, now that I think about it. So that'll be three more, one more running back, and then we can do another running back or we can do another tight end. We probably actually want to do, it's hard to say. We need to get a running back or a third tight end. I think you do want three tight ends, although we're kind of betting on Kittle, right? With this team, we're kind of betting on Kittle to be. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. We'll see what we have access to. If I was going to only go two, I probably want to grab Hawkinson or Jawan Johnson or even Schultz or Burner. Burner I might be able to get on the way back. Just someone who's going to give me some weeks of production, at least being involved in the offense to some degree, not somebody who's completely speculative. Flournoy goes, Boston goes. I think I have no Debo Samuel right now. There's also Jonah Coleman there, which we have Dobbins. No, I think I'm gonna pass and go for one of these guys later. So let's pick up Debo Samuel. We don't know where he's playing, but let's just pick him up. Could be sneaky. So now we're on seven. We'll definitely grab. Let's say we grab two more tight ends. We could grab eighth and another running back, and we're just going to be done on five running backs. Could be fine. Could be fine. Okay, on the way back through, I like Tank Bigsby if he falls. I like Dylan Sampson. I like Ray Davis. We're talking about Kaleon Black. Let's go and find him. He's way down here, huh? Maybe prioritize him in the last round. If we're gonna do that, then Schultz if he falls. We're at what ADP are we at? We're at 175. So we're looking at Barner's 174. If he falls, that's fine. Um, yeah. We could maybe go up to six and stick with two. Right? Hmm. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Making its way back. Schultz goes off the board. Rogers goes off the board to the Jones May player. We're on the clock. All right, let's grab Burner. I think we do want an eighth wide receiver. Not going to take Ayuk since I took Samuel. Um, I don't have any Jerry Judy this year. I don't think I have any Calvin Ridley either. I'm just not super high on him. We'll put these guys up here. All right, how many more picks we got? We got three more picks. We probably should grab a third tight end, which means that we can do a third tight end, an eighth wide receiver, a fifth running back. Cool. Person. All right, let's grab Malik Washington. I don't have a ton of him this year. I kind of lean into Duntavian Wicks down here, or Ted Hurst, so that's fine. It's also Singleton down here for a fifth running back. And then we're going to wind up with like Giuseppe or Njoku, one of these other guys, Parkinson. This way, honestly, Kittle could wind up in our flex occasionally instead of one of the running backs if one of these other guys has a big week in tight end. So there's that. If Kittle has some Kittle-esque weeks of old. All right, 91st minute. We got 7 minutes of overtime here. For Norway to be moving on. Ray Davis, cool. In order to ensure we're not sniped on black, because I think I do want him to back up McCaffrey, I'll take him here if he falls, and then I'll just grab whatever tight end in the last round. Ivory Coast making their final push in here. All right. Stowers, Schultz, K-Dot, and Stowers. Hall, Warren, Hubbard, Corm out of the 4 spot. Nakua in London. Stafford, Bryce Young. Maybe they're going to take Tua here in the last round. All right, we're on the clock. Let's grab Taylor Black, and then we will grab one of these tight ends on the way out. Okay, Helani goes right after. Cup, Pat Bryant. All right, let's look out at the landscape here. The Hampton Brown player goes McConkey, Ibuka, Dunze, Brian Thomas, into Trevor Lawrence, into Godwin. Did they pick up Mayfield later? They did. So they have Mayfield double stacked with Ibuka and Godwin, and Lawrence stacked with Thomas. They also picked up Gainwell to back up Hampton and Brown, and then Singleton and Allen here at the end. So, okay, cool. I don't give a. It doesn't matter. Just that he's fine. Wind up with a lot of him on my team. He might be one of the highest exposed guys I have. I just take him down here because I'm always deprioritizing these tight ends. So the Njigba player who then ignores wide receiver and goes with Henry, Jacobs, and Judkins in the backfield with Ride and Burrow, and then Pollard as well, winds up with Reed, Shaheed, Tesla, and Tank Dell. Also picks up Sam Darnold and Dart to go with Burrow. Burrow is naked, Dart is naked, and Darnold is too. No, just him with Shaheed. I don't know about how I feel about they have a great backfield and they have great quarterbacks and they have Trey McBride, but they don't have wide receivers. Okay, then the Tua player, like we said, just went heavy wide receiver. So yeah, I think overall some pretty decent constructions. I like the 11 players team. They came out pretty good. But yeah, our final construction was Daniels and Purdy at QB, McCaffrey, Achan, Tootin, Dobbins, and Black at RB. Obviously, Christian McCaffrey's like half a stat with Brock Purdy. Then we have Rashi Rice, McLaurin stacked with Jaden Daniels, Johnston, Higgins, McMillan, Trey Tucker, Devo Samuel, remains to see where he'll land, and Malik Washington, and then Kittle, Barner, and Jaceki at tight end. So overall, like the team, especially for $1. And I appreciate you guys checking out the channel. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and hit the like button and the subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. And we'll see you all in the next one.